Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm Shawn Cuthand with the Feather, and I just want to let you know I'm one of the Queen's good Indians. Yeah, I said it. I stay out of trouble, and I pay my taxes using simple tax. Now that's colonization 2021 for you. But I get annoyed when I always hear people say, "Oh, natives don't pay taxes." Like I get taxes taken off my check just like everyone else. But I think everyone got all up in arms when they discovered that we get tax-free delivery of mattresses to the res. Like you ever been to a mattress store? The salesman, they know. Oh yeah, they know. Because when they see an indigenous person contemplating a sale, they'll just come up on them and they'll be like, "Hey, do you know you get tax-free delivery to the res?" And you're just like, "Whoa, buddy, like, I don't like the way you said res." But a little about myself. I grew up in Saskatoon on John A. McDonald Road. And I had a good life. But isn't that ironic? Like a native guy growing up and having a good life on John A. McDonald Road? I bet you John A. McDonald would be rolling over in his grave if he knew how well I ate growing up. Like I had love handles. I bet you that just pissed John A. McDonald off. He's just up in the clouds being like, "Oh man, those Indian kids on my block are too chubby." Like we even had a trampoline in our backyard. I bet you that pissed him off. All these native kids in the backyard, double bouncing each other, getting closer to John A's spirit. Yeah, that must have pissed him off. But me, I'm a fan of hardcore. Like hardcore wrestling, hardcore music, hardcore pottery. You could put hardcore in front of a lot of things and I'll probably be a fan of it. But when it comes to music, I'm a fan of this one band called Terror. And they've toured through Saskatoon a whole bunch, and I've got t-shirts and hoodies that say Terror right across the chest. But you could see how that could be a little problematic for a guy like me in Saskatoon, because there's a gang with a very similar name. Like if you saw a 6'3" native guy walking down the street in a Terror hoodie, you'd be like, "What? That gang makes their own merch now?" Like, this one time I was wearing the hoodie and I got pulled into a check stop. And the officer, he says, "Terror? Like the gang?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, officer. I am a gangster. I'm so gangster, I make my own hoodies, wear them around town, and tell everyone how gangster I am." So yeah, I was walking back into the city that night. But it's funny standing underneath these bridges because I remember when they first started doing construction on these bridges and they started draining these ponds around the area. But I was thinking, like, what about all the ducks that inhabit those ponds, And why isn't anyone sticking up for the ducks? People protest everything nowadays. Why not stick up for the ducks? And your chance could be so easy. You could be like, "Ducks fly together, and so do we." Or maybe, "You down with Flying V? Yeah, you know me." But like all this inner joking, it came to rub in my face when I was sitting in the very traffic that this monstrosity was supposed to fix. When I saw a little family of ducks waddling alongside of the road. And I just couldn't help but wonder what was going through their heads, Like I just imagined the father duck, he must be feeling defeated. And he's just like, "Well, what are we going to do now? We've raised generations of ducks on these ponds." And then the mother duck, she's just reassuring and she's like, "Well, don't worry. We'll move on. We'll rebuild." And then there's this optimist duck, he just comes waddling along and he's just like, "Well, maybe we don't have to rebuild. There's a whole bunch of man-made lakes just over there." And all of a sudden the father duck, he just had enough. He's like, "Well, then they win, Gary. First they displace us, then they destroy our homeland. What's next? They'll take our ducklings, pluck their feathers, and teach them English? It'll never crack an end." Well, no wonder I felt for those ducks so much. Damn. I'm Shawn Cuthand, and this is The Feather. Thank you.